Hello, my name is Carlos Diaz, and this is my independent reading project titled The Origins of the Buckingham. This story starts, well, Roger, the score is very tight right now at 111 to 111 apiece. With only 30 seconds left in the Game 7 of the 1951 NBA Finals, said Curtis. You're right, Curtis, but this Insumu kid is something. He scored a total of 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now that's why they call him Son, because that man burns defenders when they get too close to him, responded Roger. The clock is ticking. Only 10 seconds left. The Celtics are driving up. Bob Cousy passes the ball downhand. Who passes it in Sumu? He shoots and it's in! The Boston Celtics win the NBA Finals, said Curtis excitedly. Son, what went into today's game, said a reporter. Well, to be honest, this team was the main X factor coming into this game. No more questions, please, responded Insumu. Insumu walks to the press conference room to answer questions. Sir, what went into your big performance? Not just in the playoffs, but in this whole season. In general, you meet the All NBA First Team, All NBA Defensive First Team, Rookie of the Year, won MVP, and Finals MVP. Wow, what a season for a rookie, says the reporter. Strength and perseverance, responded Insumu. Can you elaborate? Said the reporter in a calm manner. Well, to tell you, I must walk you through from my time in Nigeria to this very day. I, Insumu Mediamor Buckingham, was born in a small village in Nigeria on February 14th, 1931, to a poor mother and father. Growing up in Nigeria was very tough. My brother and I had to wake up every morning at 4 a.m. to get the drinking and bathing water from the well that was a good 3 miles away. School was very rare in my area, but we were lucky to live only a mile away. After collecting the daily water, we would walk to school. A normal school day in Nigeria was from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., but in the middle of the day we had lunch. So after my lunch, me and my friends would play basketball. This was due to my friend being able to afford one. We always played 3 versus 3. My team would technically win due to my severe height advantage. I believe I was 5'9" when I was 11, and the rest of the kids were like 5'1". After school, my siblings and I would walk home telling jokes along the way. This was our normal day in life as a Nigerian boy. As time passed, I kept growing and growing. By the time I was 16, I believe I stood at a massive 6'10". One day, I remember like it was yesterday. My parents told my siblings and I that we would be moving to America. More importantly, Atlanta, Georgia. The whole family started cheering and started packing for the long trip we had coming our way. We arrived in Atlanta on September 12, 1947. The school year had just started, and my parents immediately enrolled me in school. My first day was probably the worst day of my life. On my way walking to school, many white adults started looking at me like I was this kind of alien from a distant planet. They called me many names such as baboon, monkey, Negro boy, and hide-and-seek master, which I, till this day, still don't know what it means. I believe that America would be this nice, happy, friendly place that would welcome immigrants like me. My first day didn't show me this belief. A few months passed, and I see that the school I attend, St. Andrew High School, was hosting basketball tryouts. I thought to myself, hey, why not join the team? I'm freakishly tall, can shoot, and jump high. When I entered the gym for tryouts, the first thing the coach told me is, hey, kid, this is basketball, not a class about theft, so don't try to steal anything. I responded saying the best of my English ability, sir, I'm here for tryouts, not to steal anything. That's what Jamal and I said, and now I'm down 5 basketballs, coach said aggressively. I promise I won't steal. Alright, everyone on the line, let's start with some shooting to see who our shooters are going to be. Coach explained. There were 15 of us, but I was the only African American kid at tryouts. This kid, known as King Bill, was the best one there. He was shooting from all around the court, from deep, up close, the corner, anywhere you put this kid, he shines. When it came to me, I had this form I like to use in Nigeria that I use for shooting. I shot an average 25 shots from deep, the 2 corners, 2 wings, and the top of the key. I made 20 out of 25 of my long-range shots. The whole gym was in shock, jaws dropping down to the floor. Where'd you learn how to shoot like that, son? Coach asked. I was the main shooter on my team back home, Zuma responded. Well, you have something special, kid. We might make it all the way to the district championship game, Coach said happily. The next drills Coach had us do was one-on-one driving up to the basket. We partnered up, and I was stuck with King Bill. Bill at the time was a good 6'5", but I was still taller. The drill starts, Bill drives up, spins around, and tries to go for the layup. Next thing you know, it is blocked by me. I try to help him up after, but he looks me straight in the eye and whispers, this is my city. If you do that again, you might just end up homeless. I stay quiet. Coach starts up the drilling again, but I again get the block. Bill then whispers, I give you a warning, but now you truly are going to be homeless. After tryouts, the coach had a list for the 12 players who made the starting roster. My name was the first one on the depth chart. On my way home, I was celebrating and screaming, I made the team! I made the team! When I arrived, I told my parents the good news. Mama, Papa, I made the team. We're so proud of you, son, my parents said excitedly. After dinner, I was so pumped up that I couldn't sleep. After a few hours, it was 1 a.m., and I just hear, "Hey, Negro boy, this is what you get when you disrespect your superiors, boy." I then heard a crack and flames started to burst around my house. I'm running and running to find my family members screaming, "Mom, Dad, brothers, where are you?" "We're already outside, son. Run quickly." I sprinted out the front door as quickly as I could. What I saw was traumatizing. There were three hooded men with the top of their hoods pointed. Then they started beating me and calling me racial slurs. Next thing I hear are screams coming from the house. I was too weak to get up and just had to hear them screaming in pain. It hurts me knowing that I couldn't do anything to save my family. But then I remember a certain mark on one of the man's hands. It was Bill, who called up some of his friends to come burn down my house. The next few hours, I was rushed to the hospital to treat my injuries. The next day, the doctor told me the worst news of my life. My whole family was killed in the house fire. I started to bawl my eyes out, screaming, "Why? Why was my family killed? They did nothing wrong at all. I swear Bill will hear me when I go back to practice." When the doctor cleared me to return to school, I was greeted by no one. I thought if you survived something so bad such as a house fire, you should be congratulated. But I was waiting until the end of the day for practice to teach Bill a lesson. When I arrived at practice, Bill turned around and looked at me, but the first thing he saw was this right hook. I started punching him repeatedly, punch after punch after punch. The rest of the team had to pull me off of him. His face was very bloody and he was knocked unconscious. I don't regret doing that at all. I had to get my revenge. The coach started yelling at me saying, "Why did you hit Bill?" "That good for nothing racist burned down my house and killed my family," I said angrily. "Why are you accusing Bill of something that you have no proof of?" Coach said angrily. "You're really taking a racist side of the story?" "Oh, I mean, racists alike would always support each other," I spoke. "You have no right to talk to me like that. You're off the team in sumo and go back to where you're good at, cotton picking," Coach said. I immediately leave for the coach to punch him in the face, but the team had a good grip on me. "Your people always enact violence first," Coach said under his breath. I then went to a payphone to call my uncle up in New York. "Uncle, I got kicked out of school and was wondering if I can stay with you and your family," I said calmly. "Why did you get kicked out?" My uncle responded. "I got into a fight for beating up a racist white supremacist at my school." "If you promise not to fight anymore, I'll allow you to stay with us." "I promise I won't, Uncle." "Okay, pack your bags. I'll expect you in a few days." After a few days, I arrived in New York. At first glance, I saw many immigrants walking in harmony with no one interfering with one another. I believe this is paradise. I was enrolled into Mary Ann Academy, a prestigious school with most of the budget going towards the basketball team. I then asked the coach if I could join. He had one look at me and his eyes rolled back into his sockets. "Yes, son, you're on the team. Matter of fact, you're a starter." When the season started, I was put up to play both power forward and center. I prefer playing power forward since I got more opportunities to shoot. My first season in high school was okay. I ended the season with an average of 15 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game. Entering my last year of high school, I was promoted to captain for our team to show that they support all types of people, no matter what color. I started the season hot with 50 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists to beat the Modesto Cavaliers 113 to 54. Fast forward to the end of the regular season, our team was ranked first in not just the country, but the whole state of New York. We blazed our way to the state championship, winning games 113 to 26, 122 to 69, and even one shutting down a team 100 to 0. We were on a hot streak, and I was getting national attention for being an African American in the state championship. The day of the national championship was March of the state championship was March 13th, 1949. Mary Ann Academy of New York City versus Robert Academy of Buffalo. The game started off slow for me and the team, with the score only being 40 to 44 by halftime. My stats are very poor with only 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. As the game progressed, I started getting hot like an unintended fire, scoring flashy 360 dunks and shooting the ball from far. During the last moments of the game, the score was very even at 100 apiece. During the last 10 seconds, a St. Robert player was driving up to the basket. He tried to go for the layup, but I blocked it at the last seconds. The clock ticking at 7 seconds left. We drive up the floor as fast as we can. I pass to an open teammate. He then passes it in the air, and I slam the ball down into the basket in front of the defender's face. With time expiring, Mary Ann Academy won their first ever state championship. After the game, many scouts came up to me offering me a top-tier Division I basketball scholarship. Even the University of Georgia offered me a scholarship, the best team in the nation. I had to reject it after what happened to me in Atlanta. I eventually accepted an offer from the University of North Carolina. My high school career was over, and my college career had just started. During the summer of 1949, I was just waiting for the school year to start. I was so impatient that I decided to head to UNC early and meet my future teammates. I met some very nice people, such as my small forward partner, Marcus Ruckingfield. Him and I became such close friends that our team started calling us the M&Ms since we were both African Americans and M&Ms inside were black. We both just took it as a joke and moved on to practicing our signature move, the spinning shot. The spinning shot was where one of us jumps in the air, spins, and passes the ball while spinning, and the receiver shoots the ball. We waited until November to start playing actual games and fighting for a spot in March Madness. We were dominating our division with ease. The M&Ms were at work with a combined 500 points in just 10 games. In our last game to qualify for March Madness, we went against the University of Georgia. The person I hated the most was on the team, Bill, the kid who killed my family. This game was more than just a game, but to rub in Bill's face that I was stronger, smarter, and better than him and his little white supremacist group. The game started with Bill saying, "What are the odds to see on the court, Negro boy? Shouldn't you be picking cotton on the fields?" I tried to show him, but the Marcus helped me back saying, "You'll show him who's boss on the court." "You're right. This good for nothing isn't worth my time," I responded. The game starts when Bill drives up and shoots and makes it. I then drive up and do the same. This was how the whole game would be played. The score was 70-64. We were trailing after dunking on Bill's head. He decided to shove me, so as any reasonable person, I wouldn't let that slide. So I pushed him back harder. This later led to a full-on brawl with both teams participating. The refs and coaches broke up the fight and ejected Bill and I for just a game. I was still eligible to play in March Madness. The score at the end of the game was 112-106, with UNC winning the game and knocking UGA out of March Madness qualification. March came by and the whole squad was pumped for our first game against Kentucky. We won 114-96 and moved on to the round of 32. We were placed against the UCLA Bruins, and I balled out, scoring 48 points, getting 15 rebounds and 7 assists to steal the game, 118-100. After winning, we moved on to the Sweet 16. We were placed against West Virginia State, a tough opponent. We still overcame them by beating them 116-112. Very sad that we made it this far into the competition. Next came our toughest opponents, Duke University, in the final 8. Number 1 ranked team in the nation. It was tough, but we pulled through, winning 98-96 in overtime. This was a very bad game for me, scoring only 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Next came a team we underestimated, New York City College. They were one of the lowest ranked teams in the competition, so our team thought that this would be a breeze. At halftime of this game, we were up 60-40. New York did the impossible and came back from the deficit. The score was tied with 100 apiece. We had a possession with 10 seconds left. The M&M duo, DeMarcus and I, tried to do our signature move, the spinning shot, which at this point never failed. We tried it, but these boys read it, stole the basketball, and made the game-winning shot. We unfortunately lost the game before the March Madness final. Our goal was to win it all, but we sadly failed. I did so good that season that I decided to declare myself to the NBA draft. Scouts and TV stations were going nuts about me, talking about how I was going to go number 1 to the New York Knicks, who had the first pick of the 1950 NBA draft. My worst enemy, Bill, also declared himself for the draft, but he didn't even make March Madness, so I would be surprised if he made it into the first round. Then on April 25th, 1950, it was NBA draft day. I came to Chicago, Illinois, all suited up with pictures of me and my family, ready to bring them up with me when I was called by the New York Knicks. The draft started and Commissioner Pulaloff was ready to call the first pick. With the first pick of the 1950 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Bill Riley from the University of Georgia, he stated. The whole room was in complete shock, and I was in so much shock that I knew that I was the better player. I mean, he didn't even make March Madness. Why is he going number 1 overall? With the second pick in the 1950 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics select Insunmu Buckingham from the University of North Carolina. Most of the crowd applauded, but a small group of mainly Celtics fans started booing. I just ignored them and started getting my plane ticket to Boston as soon as possible. My first day in Boston, I was called racial slurs from a small group of racists that moved up from Alabama. I just ignored those losers. Just ignore those losers, man, said a stranger. My name is Peter White. I'm the head coach of the Boston Celtics. My name's Insunmu Buckingham, the second overall pick. Insunmu, huh? I'll just call you son, if that's alright with you, said Mr. White. That is perfectly fine, coach, I said. That day in practice, I saw legends such as Bob Cousy warming up. I felt like I was in paradise. They walked me down the basics of the shooting forms, but I was stuck with my shooting form. I shined so much in practice that I was immediately put as a sixth man on the roster, which was a huge deal since I was only a rookie playing with a team full of legends. The season started in mid-October. Our first game was against the Philadelphia Warriors. I was benched until the third quarter of the game, in which I was put into the game. The score was 78-64 with us up. I drove up and scored the first points of my career. I immediately knew this was my team. I shined out in my debut, scoring 24 points, getting 9 rebounds, and 12 assists. I was playing at this very form all season long. In March, there was this one important game that if we won, it would clinch our division and secure a spot in the playoffs. It was against the Minneapolis Lakers. I was playing well all game until the end, where I out of nowhere decided to make mistake after mistake. In the last minute, we were up 114 to 112. I had the ball, but it was stripped from me, and the Lakers scored two. I passed the ball and had it stripped again, and they scored again. I didn't take the ball again and shot the most contested pass I ever had in my career and missed my shot. We sadly lost 120 to 114. Post game, I exited the game frustrated, but what made it even worse was that the fans were throwing beer bottles at me and calling me racial slurs. I wanted to hit them so bad, but I had to remain calm since now I was in the NBA. I just used that hatred as fuel for the rest to come. I continued to dominate the league as I was doing. The Boston Celtics were ranked number 2 in the Eastern Conference. As you few might know that there were only 4 playoff teams in the first round. In the first round, we were up against the Washington Capitals in a best 4 out of 7 series. We completely swept them, winning the first 4 games. The team we were going against in the NBA Finals was the New York Knicks. Before the NBA Finals, there was an award ceremony giving awards to the best players in the league. At the ceremony, I won 4 awards: All-NBA First Team, All-NBA Defensive First Team, Rookie of the Year, and most importantly, I won the MVP. We lost the first 3 games against them, suffering losses such as 138 to 110, 128 to 98, and 130 to 126. After many people thought that our season was over and the Knicks would be NBA champions, but they were being led by me, the reigning MVP. We then started a comeback and won 3 games and forced the game 7. Today's game, which you all know about, was my best game ever. The game started cold at 40-40 by halftime. In the third quarter is when I enacted my very own form of revenge on Bill. I drove up and dunked the ball so hard that I made Bill's leg snap all the way back. He started screaming in pain. I then yelled, "Get up, boy! You took everything from me, my spot, my ego, my house, and most importantly, my family. I loved them, and you took them from me. Now your world's flipped upside down. Try to walk. Oh, I forgot. Your leg snapped in half, and you suffered a career-ending injury before your career even started. Not like you were even going to have one in the first place." After he was sent to the hospital, the game continued, and the rest of the game was history. We ended up beating them and winning our first NBA championship in Celtic history. You guys have a good day, and I won't be taking any more questions.